It's spooky season, guys, which is one of my favorite times of the year. And today we have a spooky winery story to celebrate. And the ghost story we're going to talk about today is from Argyle Winery in Willamette Valley. The story, it's fun. Of course, it's related to Halloween. But Argyle Winery also highlights some of the diversity that we see across American wine. So let's dive into this haunted story and also talk a bit about the American wine landscape. This is the American Wine Rebel Show, where we dive into the history of American wine and uncover American wine's best kept secrets. I'm Meg Siobhan, and I hope you poured yourself a glass of something good because I don't like drinking alone. So the wine I'm going to be tasting today is from Argyle Winery in the Willamette Valley, and they're one of my favorites. They're one of the first wineries I ever visited when I went to the Willamette Valley, back before I even knew that much about wine. So they hold a special place in my heart, and they're a super fun winery because Willamette Valley as a whole is known for Pinot Noir mostly, among some other grapes, but Argyle's special because they're putting world-class sparkling wine on the map, and sparkling wine has been a big focus for them since their foundation. One of the cool things about Willamette Valley is that it is a cooler region. It has a long growing season and it's got cooler nights, which is similar to the Champagne region of France. So Champagne makes great sparkling wine, Willamette Valley does as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about this Argyle sparkling wine here in a little bit. But I might pop it open before then because I love my bubbly. All right. I've got my bubbly, so cheers. So within the broader Willamette Valley, there's a lot of little towns, and one of those is Dundee, which was incorporated in 1895. And at the time, Dundee was a agricultural area. So lots of crops, but one of the ones it was most well known for was hazelnuts. So when Roland Stolz founded Argyle Winery in 1987, there were a lot of historical buildings in the area. Argyle Winery didn't want to just come through and demolish all the buildings for their winery and build new buildings. They wanted to really connect themselves to the history of the area. So they started to take over some of these older buildings that were no longer in use. And one of these was a former hazelnut building that they called a Nuthouse. And to honor the history, we've got the Nuthouse Pinot Noir. So Pinot Noir is definitely the grape that Willamette Valley is most famous for. There's a lot of really great expressions of Pinot Noir in the area. And I've actually not tried an Argyle Pinot Noir before, so I'm really excited to try this. And this bottle here is sourced from the Eola Hills, which is one of the sub-AVAs within the larger Willamette Valley AVA. And one of the particularly nerdy wine things about this AVA is called the Van Duzer Corridor. And this is a gap in the coastal ridge in the mountains, which allows the Pacific breezes from the ocean to funnel through and cool off the region. So this funnel of wind is almost like a ghost itself. Might be a bit of a stretch, but it cools off the area, which leads the grapes to ripen even slower. So Eola Hills is known for really acid, bright fruits that are also really structured and intense. So I'm excited to crack into this one. It's really nice. It's very elegant. It's got nice raspberry, some red plum and cherry notes to it, along with a little bit of spice and some floral notes. This is just a really nice Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. This is nothing like some of the big, bold, jammy, mass-produced Pinot Noirs that are often lining the grocery store shelves. This is just really delicate and refined. But one of the other historic buildings that Argyle took over as they were building their winery was the old courthouse in Dundee. And this is where our ghost makes an appearance. So prior to the courthouse being the courthouse was the family home of the Imus family. And when the Imus family were living there, their 25-year-old daughter, Lena Imus, felt that there was no reason left for her to live. A lot of sources out there that were saying it was related to a love affair gone wrong. But her ghost lives on. So even today, there's a lot of rumors and sightings of Lena Imus around the house. There's reports that a floral perfume will be smelled even when no one in the area is wearing any. There have been reports of wine glasses shattering and then no broken glasses found. And people will hear laughter coming from other rooms or areas where there's not people. And there was one sighting of a woman in a period dress standing behind a group of people that were doing a tasting, and then she just vanished. And so to honor Lena, Argyle Winery actually renamed their tasting room the Spirit House. And they have a line of wines, a Chardonnay and a Pinot Noir, that are Spirit House wines. But Argyle Winery's Spirit House isn't the only place that Lena supposedly haunts. So she's also buried in a graveyard nearby, and her gravestone says on it, "Not dead, but gone before," which is a little eerie, especially considering that she is haunting the area. So to celebrate this spooky season, I'm excited to dig into these wines. This is the Argyle 2018 Vintage Brut Sparkling Wine. And like champagne, this wine is a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier, which are the three traditional grapes in a champagne. And one of the things that's interesting about Argyle's sparkling wine is that they do vintage bottling. And so when a sparkling wine says vintage, that means that all of the grapes in this bottle come from a single year. So a lot of sparkling wines in the Champagne region and outside typically use grapes from multiple years and they blend them together. And vintage bottlings typically only happen on years where there's really exceptional fruit. But one of the benefits of a vintage bottling is that you really taste the nuance of the grapes and the flavors from that particular year. So if it's a warmer year or a cooler year, you get a different expression of fruit. This sparkling wine is just really beautiful. It's light, it's citrusy, it's got some pear, apple, lemon notes to it, but it also has that traditional light brioche or vanilla notes that you get in a lot of champagnes or other sparkling wines that are aged on lees. So I'm a bubbly girl personally, so I'm a little bit partial to this one, but I do love Argyle sparkling wines. And it's interesting because they've been making sparkling wine since the 1980s, but Willamette Valley is so well known for Pinot Noir. And this happens sometimes. This happens a lot globally, actually, where different regions are legally only allowed to produce certain wines from certain grapes, and there's a lot of legal restrictions on them. And there's less of that in the US, but even here, a lot of times we as consumers of wine associate one region with a particular type of grape. The most classic example of that being Napa Cabs. But Willamette Valley is so associated with Pinot Noir. If I say Willamette Valley, I'm sure the first thing you think of is Pinot Noir. And this is interesting to me. So Pinot Noir became popular in Willamette Valley. It was one of the first European grapes to really get some success growing in the area. And in 1979, Eerie Vineyards took a Pinot Noir to the Wine Olympiad in Paris, kind of like Willamette Valley's version of the Judgment of Paris, and won against some top tier Burgundies. And that really skyrocketed Pinot Noir's reputation. Pinot Noir is often upheld as this elegant grape. Even though Pinot Noir itself is hard to grow, it doesn't require as much different machinery and equipment to produce something like a traditional method sparkling wine. But Argyle sparkling wine is a perfect example of how different regions and different winemaking techniques can be successful in regions that they're maybe not most well known for. And as a consumer of wine, one of the things that I hope that we all do is to try wines from regions that maybe we haven't heard of, or maybe it's a little bit unexpected, and to not hold ourselves so hostage to thinking that one region equals a specific grape, especially in the US where there's not those legal restrictions requiring wineries to only make wine with a particular grape or not another grape. So I want to know your thoughts in the comments. First of all, do you believe in ghosts? And if you found this fun, I'm thinking about doing a few more haunted winery stories over the next few weeks leading up to Halloween, so let me know if you like that. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at American Wine Rebel, subscribe on YouTube, American Wine Rebel, check me out on Spotify. There's a lot more episodes. We're going to be dropping a new one every Wednesday, so I hope you can join me on that journey. And watch out for the ghosts. Cheers!